In this video, you will discover the 5 subtle ways to make a man chase you passionately. Hi, I'm Antia, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man Method, and make sure you stay till the end of this video because I have some very juicy gifts and bonuses for you that will help you out a ton with this. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Number 5, be unpredictable. Now, one thing I always teach my women is to make sure they cause a state change in a man's life. Now, that also applies if you do online dating. Look, if a man looks onto your online dating profile, we have to make sure that he feels different after he read your profile than he felt before. Now, another way how to accomplish this in everyday life is to be unpredictable. Now, if you are all the time have the same mood, you always fulfill all his wishes, whatever he wants, right? And there's never anything that brings in variety, right? Variety is the spice of life, right? So it's really important to make sure you throw in it like a surprise in there, right? Like maybe you cook something different that you normally don't cook, or maybe you're not available when you're always available. Maybe you don't answer the phone when you always answer the phone. So do something different to make a man chase you. Number 4 is be receptive. Now, hold on. So what happens all the time is specifically for my control freak managing successful women out there, right? It's like you're actually having a really hard time being receptive, right? Like you're always just managing, making sure that you're in control, that you got it, right? So you're sending a lot of signals out, but you're not receiving anything back. Then in turn, that makes a man, particularly more masculine man, actually feel less valuable, right? Like he feels like less tension towards you, and he feels like he has less of a purpose in your life because you already got it. So what is he supposed to do in your life? I'll give you a story. Back in the day when I was doing a little bit of matchmaking, now I stopped this very quickly because I don't really believe in it. You have to change yourself from the inside. It is not enough to just get the man, meaning the fish, and then you think that magically you're just going to change all your patterns and you live your happily ever after. That's not happening. So what happened with this particular couple is I actually, so the woman was one of my clients and the guy was one of my friend's clients who was also a matchmaker. So what's really interesting about this is I always do some intro interviews, of course, making sure this guy is legit, right? And he was just incredible. I mean, he was a mix between an artist and an engineer, and he was handsome, and he had to bring so much to the table, very successful, all of that, right? Funny, like it was very easy to have conversations with him, and so on and so forth. So I set him up with my very successful client, and I did coach her on, okay, make sure you're not talking about all your accomplishments and all your Wimbledon tennis games that you won. That's not Wimbledon, but I'm just joking, right? But like at that level, she had won a lot of awards and things like that, right? So, so I coached ahead of time. So guess what happens? So they go on a date, okay, and then I'll talk with this guy again, right? So we're having a debrief call, and he said, I feel like I don't have a place next to this woman. Like she has it all together, right? And she makes that very clear, right? That she doesn't really need anyone. So literally that's what men will tell you. So make sure you are being receptive. Number 3, set boundaries. Okay, this goes a little bit along with also bringing in the variety as well, but it is also about holding your own in the relationship. Now your man will test you. He will, right? He will look how much can he get away with. I just watched this Hallmark movie. It was really interesting. I think it was called A Second Chance for Christmas. And the story went like this, okay? And by the way, if you hate Hallmark movies, because they're so cliche, just bear with me. So what ended up happening in this particular instance, right, is that, she hadn't set a lot of boundaries. She was actually very successful. She was an interior designer, an event planner, right? And so, but she didn't really hold him to her standards. And so what ended up happening is he became lazy, right? He didn't clean up in the house. He didn't walk the dog, right? He's just like, whatever kid can get away with, right? So he knew he can get away with everything. She's going to love him unconditionally until she presented the divorce papers to him. And so the rest you have to watch yourself. But the moral of the story is, right, you have to set boundaries to be respected. It is not enough to be liked and to keep the man. It is also important that the man respects you, because that will ultimately make him chase you over and over again. This is when a man really says about a woman, like, she just drives me crazy, right? But like in a good way, the good kind of crazy, not obnoxious kind of crazy, right? So that's about that you want to be in. You want to set boundaries without guilt. You want to have this resounding no inside of yourself that is really sort of this honor, right? You're representing this honor and that self-respect towards the man as well. And you hand him a resume how to treat you. Number 2 is having high standards. Now look, if you just go for every Joe Schmo, right? And he's like, well, she's not the prize because she's just going out with everyone, right? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work on anything. I don't have to deserve anything, right? I don't have to fight for her. No, have high standards. So many men that say on the wedding day that the woman made him a better man. Now, what do you mean? What do you think that means? Well, that means she had such high standards that he had to step up his game, right? So she didn't let him slack off. Right? She's like, you got to match my vibration in order for me to spend time with you, right? In order for me to be exclusive with you, which ultimately means that you're never going to see another guy again, right? You never get romantically involved with another man. So this man better bring it. Okay, so think about it this way, right? Your exclusivity is so precious and so valuable. You don't want to just give that away, right? So have those high standards, right? It's important for him to call you. It's important for him to have table manners, right? It's important for you to respect you on all levels, right? Whatever the high standards are for you, some people have a very short list, some people have a very long list. I personally had 2.5 pages, and I got most of that actually met in my man. Right? But whatever the high standards are, not only have them, but then also stick to them, enforce them, right? So if you are religious, right, and you're like, I want to have somebody who actually believes, let's say, right, who's a believer, okay, and then you meet this handsome, hot guy, right, but he happens not to be a believer, well, then you're not reinforcing your high standards, right? So you need to say, I'm sorry, are you a believer or not, right? And if he's not, then you have to be willing to walk, right? That's the thing with the having high standards. You have to be willing to walk and to trust that there is something better out there for you, because girlfriend, I'm telling you, there is. And finally, number 1 is provoke pleasure, right? And so how do I provoke pleasure, Antia? I'm glad you asked. Well, for one, you want to actually take things a little slower, right? You want to get into your body when you're on a date, right? You want to slowly sip on your wine, right? Or slowly enjoy that meal, right? Maybe you want to have some fragrance candles in your room that evoke sort of the senses inside of yourself, right? So you really feel sort of this feminine flavor, no pun intended, right? And fragrance around you, right? Also, pleasure, of course, creates oxytocin, right? It's a bonding hormone. So again, it feels like really good and really yummy. And it also creates sort of like this fuzzy feeling, right? Like, okay, we're connected, we're interrelated. And there's also this trust. So now that you have set all the standards and you respected yourself, now you also bring in the softness as well. If you like this video, here is what's next. Number 1, make sure you subscribe to my channel, you share this video with your girlfriends, and of course you like it and leave me a comment. Number 2, make sure you watch the whole playlist course on how to make him commit to you that I've designed especially for you. And finally, number 3, take my Magnetize Your Man quiz, where I provide for you a personalized strategy that helps you to attract that right man for you. So you can click on that link below or go to magnetizeyourman.com. Ladies, this is it for today. Much love to you, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah!